sightings in this state that go way, way back. Some of the traits of these Sasquatch slash Bigfoot slash Grassman slash Skunk Ape slash Sabe, plus there's that list of names goes on and on. Native American tribes were the first ones to give these things names. They've got them on their totem poles, just like the rest of the animals of the forest. What does that say? Some of the traits, attributes. All of them have hair, not fur, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches long. Some people have reported that these things look groomed. I suppose they don't have jobs, so they've got a lot of time to take care of themselves, just like a cat. Who knows, they might help each other, or they might do it themselves. A lot of times people will smell them before seeing them or hearing them. They say it smells like a dead animal, wet dog, garbage, or a combination of those. Unique, to say the least. Some people reported no smells at all. Just like humans. There's some sweaty, smelly bastards walking around, and then there's some that you can't smell at all, and then there's some that you can smell from a mile away because they're perfume. I know one lady's story, she said she was communicating face to face with some of these things, a female in particular, and I believe a daughter, a youngin', and gave them a mirror and a comb, and the lady ran the comb through her hair to show them what it was used for. That was just an amazing story. Wasn't told to me, it was read in an email on another YouTube channel. Some have conical heads. Most all of them have no neck. A lot of people say when they turned to look at them, when the Sasquatch turned to look at the human, it turned its shoulders also to be able to look back. One story I remember, the thing was moving away and had its head turned damn near backwards with without having to turn its shoulders. Their arms down to their knees, usually, most all the time. Their mouths, the lips are thin and the mouth is very wide and big. Some people say that this thing could have put their whole head in its mouth. Big, round, dark eyes. At night, people have reported glowing, now this isn't eye shine from lights, glowing red eyes, glowing white eyes, glowing green eyes. Now I had a couple cats. One of the cat's eyes, when you hit it with a light, would glow green. That was Baby Bear. Then Houston, her eyes glowed kind of orange. I'd go up to the driveway and shine my bright light down the road and yell for her, and you'd see two little orange eyes bouncing down the ditch running towards me. Now Baby Bear had a little snub tail, born that way. Its mother did too. And her eyes were green. In Houston, she was a stray I picked up in Houston. She was a kitten living in a tree, so I took her with me. Baby Bear was with me. She didn't like that idea. She got used to it though. But anyway, now I've got Katie. Her name is Trucker. Not sure what color her eyes glow. I'll have to find out. Anyway, back to Sasquatch. Sorry about that. I love cats, so just thought I'd kick that out there. Their noses, usually kind of flatten down and wide. Can't usually see their nostrils because it's kind of flattened down. But people say these things look like humans most of the time. Hairy men or hairy women. I don't think the women are all that hot looking, but women have breasts. But yeah, most all of them have 5 toes. There's been some reports of 6 toes, 3 toes. There's a cast out there of one that's got like a big bulge on the side of its foot sticking out. Got a plaster cast of that. Must be an injury or something. Pretty flat-footed. I don't think they'd take them into the military. Would that make a hell of a platoon? The battalion of Sasquatch guys kicking ass, tearing people in half, don't need weapons. Maybe something. I'm sure the military's worked on hybriding something like that. Some kind of super soldier. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. In fact, who knows? They probably have some in suspended animation just waiting for the time that they may need them. I heard on a video on Gaia.com and they've got hundreds and hundreds of clones of humans. For whatever reason, only sinister, I'm sure. These things, one guy said it was like the size of a sheet of plywood. And for those of you who don't know, most sizes of plywood and it's like 4 foot wide by 8 foot tall. Yeah, one guy said it looked like a sheet of plywood. It was just like so wide, so big. Damn. Put arms and legs on a sheet of plywood. Stand and imagine what that looks like. A lot of them slim down to the waist. Legs are a little bit shorter. Generally run on 2 legs. Bound across roads in like 2 steps. 6 to 8 foot stride. God. And 4 foot wide at the chest. Most people don't really see any ears sticking out. I think they're kind of flattened against its head. When you're a apex predator like that, you really don't need to hear all that well. Like deer, you'll see how their ears flip back and forth, and rabbits and such, so they can hear something coming after them. But when you're king of the jungle, you don't need that good of hearing. One person reported they saw one come down out of the woods, grab a deer by its neck, he kind of did a whipping action with it, snapped its neck, turned around and just walked back into the woods with it like it was a rabbit. They could do with a human. Now these things there's not many stories of them hurting humans. I think in the past, when the Europeans settled here, or even the American Indians, who knows, they may have hurt some humans, and the humans are like pack animals. I'm sure they grouped up, came hunting for them. So there's kind of a written law amongst them, that seems like. As far as actions go, this is one story I just heard the other day. Not personally, it was on a YouTube channel. All night long, something charged the tent. And he assumed it jumped over it and then continued on. He said it sounded like a bull or something charging through the woods right to the tent. He was waiting to get flattened every time. All night long this thing did it. God, how scary is that? Want to yell, stop doing that. Oh, there's another story. Some lady was getting harassed by this one, and she broke down in tears, and she went out on her deck because these things were slapping the side of her house and stuff. Oh yeah, that friend of mine, Jim from Minnesota, who's had these invisible ones behind his house, I said, he didn't know anything about Sasquatch. And I asked him, I said, "Are these things coming up to the house, slapping the side of the house?" And he's like, "That's what that is? Oh my God." He says, "I thought it was the house settling or something like that." He says, "But it was just way, way too loud for something like that." He said, the house has popped so loud it shook the whole house." I said, "Yeah, houses don't settle
Attention,
like that.
A new important message has arrived.
Houses don't settle that loud. They snap and pop, lately. Nothing make you jump out of your shorts anyway." How in the hell's that prime truck going over 65? You're governed at 65. Look into that. Anyway, yeah, he was really surprised when I mentioned that. He's like, "Dang, the light came on. I can't wait to get his email." Oh, by the way, Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker at Gmail. Send me your letter. I'll be happy to share it. I'll keep your name and location confidential, not a problem, if that's what you choose. Okay, back to this lady. She went out on her deck and was crying out loud, "Stop doing that! You're scaring me!" Blah, 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 a few other things. They stopped terrorizing her. So I think they understand what we're saying. Oh dear, dear, dear. Get back in the woods. So anyway, yeah, they bluff charge people like bears. And some of them are invisible. A lot of encounters with invisibility, just like my friend Jim on his land. So it's not just one case, it's many, many cases of these things being invisible. They'll hear something charging at them. They say it sounds like a freight train usually. And there's nothing there. They can't see anything. They throw rocks. In fact, I did talk to a person personally who was out deer hunting. God, I wish I could remember who that was. And I said something to him about throwing pebbles at people in their deer stand and when they're fishing and in their tents. And he's like, "Oh my God, I never thought." He says, "I was blaming my brother-in-law." He said, "We even got in an argument over it because I was pissed at him for doing that because he was just scare the deer away." And his brother-in-law says, "No, man, I wasn't doing that." And he didn't believe him because who else would be doing it? Bears don't do it. Squirrels don't do it. Easter Bunny's not out there throwing rocks at you. But yeah, when I told him about that, the light came on. He's like, I had no idea. So that was a good feeling, knowing that I got some information to somebody. But yeah, they'll throw great big rocks at people too. Splash into the river so hard it'll hit the rocks at the bottom. Rocks will go whizzing. They'll hear the rock whiz by their head. Normally they do not hit people, but they are a good shot. They could probably swish a rock in a basketball hoop full court. Like I said, they don't work. They ain't got jobs. They ain't got nothing else to do but groom themselves and practice rock throwing. They could probably hit an animal. Oh, like in the Philippines, the Filipinos way back, they used to sit in trees and drop rocks on animals. orang pendek is what they call the ones in Manila, in the Philippines. Something to that pronunciation. Or orang pendek. The yowie from Australia. Booger in the southern United States. Grassman in Ohio. Skunk ape down in Florida. And other names around the country and the world. These things are reported all over the world. Let me see, more attributes. Rock throwing, bluff charging, screaming. Some people say it sounds like a woman being murdered. They've called out people's names in the woods. Howling. So loud you feel it on your insides. What else do they do? I think they know not to leave footprints behind, but a lot of times it happens, it just can't be helped. But these things are highly intelligent. Kind of got an OCD personality, and what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me. Anyway, nice sports complex over there. Pool. That's good. Communities can have that. These kids are lucky living right next door. Let me see what else they do. People have said these things have smiled at them. Can you see that great big wide mouth cracking a smile? They have kind of put their arm up in a wave type fashion, wave back to people. Some people kept their wits enough about them. It was far enough away. They weren't scared shitless. Like one guy was sitting up on a cliff about 20 feet high and watched one for about 20 minutes wander into a field, eating the leaves off of branches. They'd snap a branch off and put it in its mouth, and its lips would kind of flap like a monkey eating those. Like, you've all seen that video of a orangutan or a monkey eating. They'll stick a piece of straw or grass in a termite mound. The termites stick to it, and then they peel them off. That's that straw, piece of straw. Yeah, he watched this thing for about 20 minutes, and it was wandering closer and closer to him, and he finally decided he better let it know that he's there, because he didn't want to surprise this thing. So he kind of put up his hand in a wave, and the thing turned around and started heading out, and then stopped and turned around and put its arm up, kind of like waved back. Didn't scream, didn't yell, didn't say nothing, didn't do nothing, just turned around and walked away, and then stopped, turned around and waved at him. So the guy didn't feel threatened or anything, so he was calm enough to kind of do something like that. So these things are so intelligent. World's hide and seek champs. But yet, it's almost like they wait for somebody to come along in their vehicle and run right in front of them. Right in front of them. There's one story that these people watched it for like a minute, and it was charging down the hill like it was heading them off, and it ran right into the side of their car. It's like, what is he trying to do that? Anyway, those are a few attributes of these things. Just thought I'd share that with you. And